don't see it the same way, you know. Maybe people don't see it the same way. Maybe I'm the only bloke sitting around his mid-30s wondering when's life's going to give his birds nests and eggs, you know. Even though I lost my bird, I lost my nest, and it's all just terrible. You're like, well, what happened between you and the last that you had to die from? And I was like, honestly, I thought things were good, you know. I'd be on my own bachelor set, doing my own thing on some social media rising up, that's that. And then I just put about, the girl comes on and she wants to kick it once, and I think to myself, I'm not that old enough, so, you know. And so we're in there, we're bed pillowing it, and I'm thinking to myself, 33, 32, at the time I was 32, 31, and I'm like, I'm 31 years old. I've banged tons of chicks, you know, banging left and right, probably banging this one, about to bang this one, in the middle of banging this one, you know, turning her out ripe, you know, and just, I'm thinking to myself, it's all the same. It's going to be feeling so empty if I don't really make this matter. You know, I've fucked tons of women. You know, I don't have like triple digits or nothing. I didn't go above 45. But at the same time, every failure adds onto the belt. So I'm still pushing 32 bodies. And so I'm thinking as I'm bars eating, I'm thinking like, I really want this to be something, you know. And I thought, you know, with her being so close in age, I thought she's on the same page about it, honestly. I thought she was kind of wanting it, you know. I feel women don't say it, but at the same time, you expect it. And so, you know, in the heat of the moment, I'm like, well, let's do this, you know, and she's like, yes, you know, and that is it. And it's supposed to be happy, and we're supposed to be in love, and I felt great, and she felt great, and it didn't feel like we were just having meaningless sex, so there was a little bit of spark of hope in there, you know, and that's how it's always been. Every time we lay together, in the past, we would try to, you know, make something of our committals in beds and things of that, you know, and it wasn't terrible, but it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. Why, I guess on the woman's standpoint, there's a lot of mental fortitude you have to have about the entire ordeal, or you will come to be sitting on nerves in, and she's all like, what's the plan? What's the plan if it turns out? Well, I had my own flat. It was before I owned it. I was working, had a good job. She was getting assistance from the government there. But it would have worked, because in the hypothetics of her being that, I would have just uprooted and moved in with her. She already had everything covered. And I would have made the contribution, and we could have actually thrived on it. But that wasn't good enough for her. At least that's what she wasn't understanding. The plan. She always couldn't do, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. And I was like, no, there's nothing to talk about. I thought we did the deed and I'm feeling good spirits. You know? I'm sitting around waiting for you to bring me some good news. You know? In the meanwhile, I'm working, you know? That wasn't good enough. And so time goes on, we have a few spats and things like that, little arguments of things, because this wasn't working out. And, you know, we did that shit for a while, you know, we've had our falling outs and it got progressively worse. You know, and the text and the verbal abuse, and, I mean, on her part, I'm kind of a calm soul, kind of a gentle spirit, and I really just don't go out of my way to just, like, cause problems. You know, I got a lot of focus on my life and work and things, and so I like to keep my bills tucked in my pocket folded, you know what I mean? So, like, I didn't really think anything of it, you know, but I just ignored it for the longest time. Why? Because even outside the fact that she is probably a stark craving psycho, she's still willing to lay with me on the aspect of being a mother. So she still did have the hope to it, you know. And our being contribution, it was a teamwork. Maybe it was short in straw sticks on both sides, but we were still willing to work together for the whole grandeur of it, and that was fine enough. But over time, it just got progressively and progressively worse. And then one morning, I forgot, it was just one morning, you know, because we just, all the time, we got into the aspect of just generally sitting around each other, but it just felt so, I guess, uncolourful, unmotivated. I mean, I was busy all the time. I was working full time, you know, got to keep the floats up, got to keep life going, got to get groceries in the fridge, all of that. She didn't have the South Force on, she was living at home, she's a parent and all that, you know, she wasn't working or anything, she didn't have any money. But, you know, she made ends meet on that. And there was a plan around it, you know, there's a plan. It just didn't take. And one day we had a falling out one morning. It was a rum bump. And we did what we did. And at the end of the ordeal, we kind of had this weird, like, pause, you know. It was a mutual pause about it. Felt really weird, felt dead. We all felt dead inside. So then we sat silently that morning and we're like, well, you know, we should probably figure out what we want to do. We ultimately came to this conclusion that it's just, she looked at me dead in my face. She looked right at me. She looked at me and she said, Adrian, and I'm like, what is it, love? What is it? You know, we got all this weight right now, there's clouds. This isn't going to be pretty, is it? She looked at me and she looked around at my dingy little trailer. She looked at the small space, no bigger than 8 feet wide. 40 feet long, no, but 8 feet, maybe 9 feet wide at the most. She looked at me and she said, I don't want this, Adrian. I don't want any of it. And I stopped and I'm like, what you mean? You mean like what we were doing, you don't want any of that? Or is it, you know, the place I have, you don't want any of this, you know? I mean, mind you, my place wasn't the best place in town, but it was cosy. It survived a few storms. I just lived there for 5 years straight, probably 60 days if they didn't take it from under me. But she looked at me and she said, I don't want this, Adrian. And I knew it wasn't the flat. At least I don't think it was the flat. I think it was just, I don't know, me in general, life in general. I really can't put a tinkering on the standards of it, but that was maybe a year and a half in. And, you know, it was mutual. But at the same time, she still could have been carrying, you know. But we do that, and we just let things go their way. But every now and then, she pops up at the doorstep. Doom, doom, doom. Hey, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I thought we were in the middle of forgetting about each other. What you doing here? She's like, can we talk? I'm like, no, you can't talk. Hey, can I come in? No, you can't come in. It just got to the point where she just wasn't happy, you know. And she tell you all these things, you know. I miss Carrie. I mean, did you? Did you now? Really? I think she's just full of rocks, that one. Yeah, I know, now that brick one floating is dead sinking. I think she's just full of rocks. But at the same time, you know, I'm not going to argue with it. But she's just tried to put me on this pedestal of like, you don't understand my pain, you're not here for me. That's what you say to me after what I'm going through. And it's like, what about me, love? What about me? You're hurting on a level that I can't understand. And she even said to me, you don't know, it's like look down and just see things like, love, I don't believe you, you know? I really don't. That's when I got the idea that I don't think that she's capable of conceiving, you know? I truly don't. After she says of what's happening, she says she's spotting all the time, spotting, you know? I tend to try to keep myself in right bit fit of health, you know. But at the time, even though I was kind of excessively drinking, I wasn't smoking. I quit for a while. I was vaping. I stopped drinking much, but I still keep myself in good enough health, you know. It just never took, you know. And I guess the weight of it never happening really started to take a toll on her, you know, on life in general, I guess, you know. So, you know, fast forward a bit, you know, things progressively worse with anger and issues. Like I say, she kicked my door in. She did. If you ever look on my Facebook page and you go down and you see a woman kicking at my door, that's after she already kicked it off the hinges and I had to try to barricade it from the inside. And she ripped the curtains off my trailer and she smashed the window and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why are you mental? No words. Just persecuting. All in the name of God too. So if you ever wonder why I have kind of a stickly of it, it's because a lot of size Christians do the most evil of things of acting to defend apparently there's God. And they say she's not a real Christian. But this isn't about if she's a good Christian or not. This is about why it didn't take and why I'm sitting back feeling like the world doesn't want me to go that route, but still at the same time, you can't deny something that's never happened, can you? I mean, you can, but this isn't just like a sporting event, it's life, you know? And so we go through our tits, we go through our tuts, our spats and all that. I'm going to this legal matters with my trailer flat because I own it now, but they want money for the land and all that. And I'm just not having it, you know? So ultimately, I end up losing that place. I lost my car too. Yeah, I did. I had a 2004 Ford Taurus. And after keeping it up and running for 6 years or so, and I got it. It only cost $600 to get it off the lot, $2,400 total for the flat drive. Got it off the lot, and after 6 years of putting money into it, all that, eventually I had to get rid of it. The whole thing, she's shutting down on me, and that car got me from A to B, you know. But it was my first car that I actually put money in. So at the time I had lost my car. I'd found work close by, you know. I'd walk in the tracks to get to the market and stuff like that. I made ends meet. Just kind of how I'm doing now, except I really only had to venture within maybe a few blocks between work, a few blocks between the shop, a few blocks between the girl who was at the time my girl, you know, things were great. But then I lost my flat, but I still had my job. And after all the turmoil that me and her went through about her wanting to be with me and her thinking that because we are going down this route, I should embrace her into my life and all that, and that she should live with me. And after that, after the point that she already kicked the door off the hinges, so I really couldn't keep her out in the first place, I said, fuck it. Since I can't really just put any boundaries of it, I guess because you kicked the door open, you're welcome to sit in my fucking couch. And I just had to own up to it and embrace it. And honestly, it wasn't terrible. She had no respect for me as a person, though. If that makes any sense at all. I don't smoke. I wasn't smoking at the time. She doesn't care smoking inside. I'm like, can you please go outside? Can you please not be in the door? Can you please... No, she doesn't fucking care. I don't like those kind of toxic people. People who just do what they want because they don't care about another person. It's not even about having respect for a person. It's for the fact that why even put yourself around? You're kind of a knock, you know? It's pretty of a sick fuck, that kind of shit. And that's what I was dealing with, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, whatever. It's like, it wasn't terrible. And, you know, but the thing is, after she started destroying the place, vandalising the place, she did. I lived there for 5.5 years. I lived there for 5.5 years. I owned that trailer. I owned it. It was mine. It was 100% my responsibility. I could do whatever with it. I could have painted it. I could have put in new floors, tiles and carpet and new kitchen counters, new cabinets. It was mine. And I was happy because at 30, at mid-30, just to own a bit of property to be considered an asset, it's great. I owned it. I sit in the yard and drink my beers, and I had my space, and I could play my music as loud as I want. I could do whatever I want. I didn't have neighbours above me or right beside me. It was nice, it was cozy, it was quiet. And she came and literally fucked it all up. She smashed the windows. Now my beautiful home has boarded up windows because I'm responsible for paying it, you know? But she's just going to break them again. And she ripped the skirts off the side. And I'm responsible for fixing it. She destroyed my home. So when I came down to go to court before the judge, I didn't even go into the courtroom. The other black lawyers come out, hey, I'm the guy who's on the other side. I want to tell you right now, if you go in there, the judge is going to hit you with 7 days to vacate, and you're still going to have to pay us. And I'm like, you know what, bloke? You don't have to worry about me. You can have the fucker. So I left. I did. And I was outside for a couple of days, you know? I was at the library, in the wards. Not the greatest place, not as Fresno. Fresno, I could probably lay right in here on the grass and it'd probably be great, you know? Out there really is no place you can sleep. There really isn't. There's literally nowhere you can sleep, actually. I wouldn't do it if you could. You couldn't. It's too cold anyway. No spots, no benches, no bushes. Very, very rural, you know? And so, I did that for a couple of days. And I seen her around, you know? And I'm thinking like, you know, maybe maybe I'll give her a chance, you know? Maybe. And so I went there. I'm not sure if I was drunk or if we had met up outside, because this is a small community, but I was there, you know? And things were good. It was. I was working, we were getting into that whole routine, you know, listening to music, watching movies. Like, it's not like she had internet and things like that, and she wasn't working, so it was really its own thing. And, you know, that's how it was. Cooking different meals every night. I generally just like to sit back, listen to music, relax. I work full time, and, you know, Sundays we go out for foods, and, you know, she gets a little bit of cleaning done, a little bit of cooking done, just a little bit of domesticated things like that. But it began to feel like a real routine, you know? Except we weren't having children, and we weren't getting married, and we weren't having sex. You'd think, right? Not really. And that's how it was, but it was still nice to have that company time, but ultimately it just didn't work out. She didn't want me there. Really, she didn't want me there. And she had a piss poor way of expressing it too. I go to work and I come back, you know, I put money in the place, I fix the locks, I put groceries in the fridge. She doesn't have income. I keep up with her nasty habits, all the fags she smokes, all the cigarettes and cigars and things like that. You know, keep up with her habit and put groceries around and fixing things like that. I get home one day from work. She says, you need to leave today. You need to get out now. I'm like, why? What's going on? She's like, you're cheating on me. She's like, no, I'm not. She's like, where were you? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm at work. I work mornings. I'm at the same schedule, Monday through Friday. I even tell you when I'm getting off work. She's like, I don't believe you. I feel like you're with another woman. I'm like, why would you think that? And she's like, where's your duffel bag? Like, my duffel bag? She's like, yeah, the duffel bag you packed when you had a trailer that you haven't seen. All you got is that stupid little backpack with a few pairs of boxes and jeans. Where's your duffel bag? I told her my duffel bag's at work. And she's like, I don't believe you. Why would you keep it at work? And I'm like, well, why would I bring it here? It's not like you have a lot of space in it for me. All it was, the PlayStation, the television, novelty things, you know. I didn't really need it. I had everything. I had a bag of clothes. I work all the time. I didn't fucking care. She's like, I don't believe you, Adrian. I think you have it at some bitch's house. And that's where your PlayStation is. That's where your laptop is. You know, that's where all your stuff is. You're throwing book bags over her gate and stuff. And I'm like, what are you mental? Where are you hearing this? You know? And she wasn't having it. She was not having it. But there was nothing to not have. And so for 3 days, she just scorned at me. You're lying. Fuck you. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, are you making this up? Are you just bored? Is this just a laugh for you? You have nothing else to do, so you're just trying to get a little argument going, a little tit for tat, you know? Then she started throwing things and things like that. But like I said, she didn't want me there. Because on that Sunday, she told me, hey, we're going to be going over to my parents' house today. And I was like, when, you know? And she's like, they're going to come out here and pick us up. They're about 3 cities away. She says they're going to come here, they're going to pick us up, they go out there, they got some food, I'm going to help my mum clean, you can just hang out in like the basement or whatever, you know, I don't know. And then after a while we have to find our way back home. And I'm like, why can't they bring us back home? And she's like, I don't know why. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. If they're going to come all this way to bring us out there, knowing that we don't have a car, I feel like they should bring us back home. And you don't have any income, so you want me to pay for a lift to get us back home. And I have to work Monday morning, so I really just don't care enough to want to, you know? Right. And she's like, well, then if you're not going to go with me to my parents' house, then you can't be here. And I'm like, what are you trying to say? Like, oh, you want me to just go outside? And she's like, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't trust you in my place, Adrian. And I'm thinking, like, I've been here for about a month and a half now. What do you mean you don't trust me? And I even said, do you think I'm going to bring a bitch over while you're not here? Or do you think I'm going to steal all your stuff? And she's like, maybe, no, but maybe you could. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm hearing this right now. This is what I'm hearing from you right now. You don't trust me here. Mind you, we had to get the locks fixed and changed on a flat, so I put $150 into it to get the locks fixed. So I got her new door set, new locks, all of that, and she was supposed to get a copy of the key. We were supposed to get a copy of the key that day, actually. That was our day thing. We were supposed to go to the hardware store, get a copy of the key. She didn't want me there. After I had, tried to be normal with everything, she didn't want me there. And I'm like, so you really want me to just be outside until you get back? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, for how long? Mind you, this is after she convinced me to bring my briefcase, my packages, my luggage from work. It was in the work closet for the last 2 months. She convinced me to bring my luggage back into her flat only to try to kick me out. And I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. And she's like, I don't care. That's just how I feel, and you just have to honor that. And I'm like, really? You're really saying that you don't trust me in, quoted, your space? She's like, that's exactly what I'm saying, Adrian. For 3 days, she did that. For 3 straight days and nights, she did that. For 3 straight days and nights. It got to the point she was trying to throw things. Mind you, all I had as far as space was a little chair in the corner, lest I be intrusive, right? Try to be polite about these things. And that's what she said. She's like, it doesn't feel like you're moving in, because it's not traditionally how it works. And I understand that completely. That's kind of a remnant of what we got going on today. That's why I always say, guys, get your own place. Don't ever live with a female. She's never gonna honor and respect you as a man, because she's not living under you under these normal circumstances. And she will realize her independence and individuality, and she will boot you out. Even though the complete opposite is what men have to do in favoritism for women. But that's what it came down to. And so at about 6:30, she said she wanted me to leave after 3 days. And I looked at her, and I opened the door. And I said, I'm only going to ask you this one more time. Do you want me to leave, or do you want me to stay? And she paused for a second. And I looked at her, and I'm like, think about this. Because we're not having this back and forth conversation. We're too old for this, and we've actually put 3 years invested into the dysfunctional chaos that we call the relationship. So I asked her, do you want me to stay, or do you want me to go? She said, I want you to go. So I left. Just as quick as she said the words, I left. 6:45, I'm carrying my junk and stuff down the street, talking to my friend, trying to keep peace, thinking, well, I guess I'll start over again. And then that's when it hit me. This is the third time I've been living on the sidewalk in the same city. You know what I mean? The third time that I'm having a conversation with the same person about living on the street. The third time. And I'm like, there's nothing left here for me. How many times do you have to fuck up before you realise there's nothing left? So before I even started a third time of I'm back outside again for the third time, I guess I'll go to work on Monday for the third time, get my life together for the third time, get a new apartment for the third time, get a new car for the third time. I didn't even have the conversation. I just realised there was nothing for me. So 6:45, I'm walking down the street with my luggage. 9 o'clock, I'm on a bus headed to California. I didn't fuck around and found out. And now I'm here. And that's what happened to me. That's how I came to be. And honestly, I don't regret a thing.